You know what's so crazy is people ask me that question. They ask, when was the first time that you saw the movie? And I think I saw it when I was so young, I can't even remember. I mean, the movie was released the year I was born. And it's like, I feel like I've known this movie for as long as I can remember. I feel like I'm in an incredibly unique and special position. I played Hermione Granger in Harry Potter, who was one of my kind of like childhood heroes growing up. And then I also got to play Belle, who is another one of, you know, these characters that really kind of dominated and characterized a huge part of my childhood and my growing up. So it's really special, and it feels like I definitely felt pressure because I know what she meant to me as a young girl, and you know, she's kind of sacred a little bit, and yeah, you want to, when you love something that much, you really want to do it justice. Well, you know, it wasn't really a done deal because I'd never sung professionally before. I'd sung as a child. I'd sung in school plays. It's something that you know, I loved and had always wanted to do, but I had to prove to Alan Menken and to Bill Condon and to Cos that you know, I could pull this off because it's a full-blown musical. It's not like I have to just perform one short song or something. It's like, no, these are full musical numbers. So, you know, I had to put myself on tape and I had to audition, and so it was a nerve-wracking process for me, but I think I'm really glad that I went through the process of auditioning because I felt like, okay, I earned this now. I really won this. I feel like this is something I can do. Beast. Beast. Like, I feel Beast and Belle are two parts of the same whole, and I remain and throughout the shoot was fascinated by Beast and his darkness and his torment and his redemption. Uh, I think it's this is a fairy tale which has been around for like centuries. It's kind of a part of our cultural consciousness that goes back further than any of us can think, and it's it's so much about the human condition and what it is to be alive, what it is to give and receive love, what it is to see deeper than the external and the superficial. And I think in that sense, it's kind of it's kind of one of the most soulful Disney movies I can think of because it I don't know, it transcends, it goes beyond. It's truly, yeah, it's truly soulful. There are so many moments from this movie that are so iconic, and the dance is one of those. And so Dan and I were like, wow, we this has to be really special. And I think for the two of us, a big part of the beginning of this process was, okay, we need to learn these steps. We need to, and then at a certain point, we had to just completely let go of all of the technical stuff. Dan being in the suit and on the stilts, and us trying to figure out how to get around this ballroom. And then we were like, okay, now we have to find something here that tells the story of them falling in love, because that is what the dance is about. And it's a waltz is just like is the perfect metaphor for that, because you're out of breath, you're like kind of spinning and you're kind of off balance, and you're relying on your partner to keep you in time and keep you in step. And it's such a it requires such teamwork and such trust that it just, yeah, it tells the story. And um, we we wanted to give it all of the feelings of those initial butterflies um, and like apprehension and sense of being completely out of control that you feel when you start to fall in love with someone. I think what works so well about this film is that, as I've said, it has this incredibly deep and soulful element, But the other reason I remember wanting to watch this movie as a child was just that it was funny. It was just like constant wit, humor, sarcasm. Yeah, just really kind of like, yeah, just had just a great sense of humor throughout. And so it's characters like Cogsworth and Lumiere and the dynamic between the two of them, and you know, just kind of that whole ensemble cast that lift the whole thing, and yeah, and make it really, yeah, just like joyful to watch. A big part of me creating Belle was working with Jacqueline Duran, who was the costume head, and it really helped me get it, like, really understand who she was as a living, breathing, human version of Belle, and not just an animated character. So we spent a lot of time figuring out, okay, what does Belle do, and how does what she wears and the ways that she presents herself support what it is that she does. We know that Belle loves to read, you know, how she's the kind of person who'd have at least 2 books on her at all times. How does she do that? So we created these pockets that sit on the outside of her costume so that she can have a book on her at all times, but she can have her hands free. In our version of the story, she's an inventor. We wanted to make sure that she had, you know, the female equivalent of a tool belt on her at all times. We know that she loves to ride. We made sure that she had riding boots on. To get on and off a horse, we wanted to make sure that she had something on underneath her skirts, so she has one side of her skirt hitched, so that she can get a leg over a horse. And we wanted, you know, she's like out there in the garden and she's doing things. So we wanted her costume to feel beautiful, but also like worn in, and have a quality of, yeah, like a quality of, this is something that she lives and breathes in every day, and it's like part of her.